Now, this is the last question, the regression question. Well, to tell you that, like, if you're doing the exam, to know that it's a regression question, I don't think you'll miss it. You will see the word regression in the actual question, or in part A, B, C. Like, for example, here in part A, construct the least square regression model. So I don't think you'll miss it. You're even going to remember the layout of the question. They tell you the climate change has caused mean global temperature to increase. Some regions have expected cooling effect. The concern of climate cooling could impact cold-blooded creatures such as frogs. Now, the mating call, they call this the mating call, critical to survivor. They could be impacted by temperature. So what's called the call frequency could be impacted by the temperature. The biologists, they want to predict what will happen to call frequency. So you're trying to predict what's going to happen to call frequency. When you see predict something, that's another indication that you're dealing with a regression concept. And whatever you're trying to predict is your y. So call frequency would be y in this case. And temperature is x, and that's what you're using to predict. We call this the predictor. So whatever you're trying to predict is called is y, and in this case it's called frequency. And remember, it's called frequency for mating between and frogs. They also give you information. So they tell you your mean temperature equals 23.7. But since you determined that temperature is x, in the exam, put next to it x bar. So now I know x bar is 23.7. The standard deviation of temperature, that's the standard deviation for x, because temperature again is x, and that's also given 1867. The mean of frequency, that's y bar, because frequency is y. So your y bar is 49.05. And the standard deviation for frequency, that would be S of y, and that's 5.145. And the correlation, that's your R. R is always your correlation coefficient. And in this case, it's 846. Now, the first question is A, construct the least square regression model or equation for this. So we need to find the equation, the y equals mx plus b, but the regression equation is y hat equal b0 being the y-intercept, and b1 is your slope. Now, how do you figure out your b1 and b0? These are how you figure out b1 and b0. b1, your slope, you take the r times sy sx. So you take the 846, your sy is 5145, and your sx is 1867. So I do the calculation here, 846, 5145 over 1867. So your B1 is 2.3314. That's your B1. And after you find B1, you use it to find B0. And the equation for B0 is you take average y minus slope average x. So average y is 49.05. Your slope we just did, and average x is 23.7. So you do the calculation for this. And that would be negative 6.20 roughly, or 2. So your B0 is negative 6.2. So once you have this, you're ready to put everything together in the equation. This is your equation. So y hat equals B0 plus B1x, but instead of y, you say call frequency equal B0, and that's your y-intercept, and we found this to be negative 6.2 plus 2.3314 of your x, and that's temperature. Okay. And B, in one sentence, explain the meaning of your regression model with respect to the decreasing temperature. So, when they say explain it in terms of increasing or decreasing, they want you to talk about correlation. Correlation tells you two things. You first look at the value of R. So whether it's positive, negative, look at the value. The value here is 846, close to 1. So we have strong relation between frequency and temperature. The fact that it's positive, so you always look at the value and then you look at the sign of R. R is positive. That means that we have positive relation. What does positive relation means? Means that X and Y, temperature and call frequency, they go always together. Positive relation means X increases, Y increases, or X decreases, Y decreases. So, as X, temperature, decreases, Y, which is call frequency, also decreases. Since they want you to talk about it in terms of decreasing, one decreases, the other decreases. Why? Because we have a positive relationship, and positive means that they move together. Increases, increases, decreases, decreases. Negative means they move in the opposite direction. One increases, the other decreases. And then they want to see how much of variability in call frequency not explained by the model. There's something called R squared, where you take the value of R and you square it. So you take this 846 and you square it. 846 squared gives you about 716 or 71.6%. What does R squared actually mean? It means how close the points are to the line. Also, it means that 60 or 71% of frequency or call frequency can be explained by X. So this is what R squared is. Our question is what percentage cannot be explained. So since we're looking for not explained or cannot be explained, you'll be looking for 1 minus r squared. Because if 71 can be explained, about 29 cannot be explained. So this would be 284. About 28% or 28.4% cannot be explained. So if they ask what percentage can be explained, it's r squared. Not explained would be the opposite, 1 minus r squared. And then they tell you, if someone else does the same study, but they ended up with a higher coefficient of determination, r squared. Remember our r squared was 716? They tell you someone else did the study and they ended up with an r squared 81. Which study would you take? The higher the r squared, the better the study. Higher r squared, better study. Because here, points are closer to the straight line. So basically, the higher the r squared, the better the study. And then they tell you the last question here, or part E of this. So remember, we have call frequency, and you have the call frequency, and you have temperature, and we found the relationship. I'll write down what the relationship is. We know call frequency is negative 6.2 plus 2.3314 temperature. And then they tell you, females do not respond to mating calls below 32. Use your regression to predict if females will or will not when the temperature is 15. So we want to see if the call frequency, is it more than 32? Or less than 32? If it's below, we don't want it to be below. If it's below 32, then that means that females do not respond. So we want it to be over to see this one not respond, this will respond. So to do this, they tell you at 15, what's going to happen at 15? Well, you plug 15. So call frequency, you have minus 62, 2.33, and you plug 15. 6.17 plus 2.33, 15. And that would give you something like 2.78. So that's less than 32. They will not respond. Now, this is a good question for regression, but again, it's not enough. My recommendation is view all the videos that I did for the review for the practice final. I also did videos for the last 3 assignments, 7, 8, and 9. If you need the links for them, they're all in my channel. If you need the links, I can send you the links for 7, 8, 9. You don't really need to review the first part of the course. It's like if you have a chance, just quickly, but review 7, 8, 9, review this practice final exam, have all kinds of notes and tables from you when you do your final exam, and I'm hoping that things will be okay. Now, when you review your assignments, please review 7, 8, 9, because most of the stuff, like 90% of the stuff, will be from the 7, 8, 9. And again, I'll write down my phone number. You can text me. You also have my email. You can text me if you have any question with regard to any of the assignments or with regard to this practice. And good luck, everyone.